Coming to you live all the way from Brooklyn. Boy. Hello, you beautiful people. Hope all is well in your world. I am back from surviving the lalas of the Paloozas, and it was definitely worth all of the monies. It is Aquarius birthday, January 25th. Hope you've been drinking water because I'm still slightly dehydrated from the weekend. But let's get into the words of wisdom from the universe today because I need a hug. And they read, if someone praises you to the skies today, it will pay you to be suspicious. Why are they being so generous all of a sudden when they were so critical before? Almost certainly it's because they want something from you, something they know you won't want to give. Well, luckily, this doesn't apply to me. I haven't been home for the last couple of days, and a lot of people don't even know I'm back from my trip, so they can't praise me to ask me for anything. So, yeah. But what I wanted to talk about today is evolution. We as a species are the epitome of evolution. We started out with nothing, somehow we got a wheel, then went from carriages to buggies to cars, and now we have planes. We went from sleeping outside to caves to huts to houses and now being able to rent rooms in 1,000 feet tall skyscrapers. Like, have you seen the evolution of Dubai from the last 10 years? It's freaking amazing. But one of my favorite examples of evolution is music. We had albums, 8-tracks, cassette tapes, CD players, MP3s, to now everything for the most part being pure digital. Like at one point in people's lives, you can only purchase music from a store, not an app. That shit is crazy. But did you know that there's also a form of evolution when it comes to your zodiac sign? Like, what? If you didn't know that, we gonna learn today. Now, the evolution of a zodiac sign has two categories that people can fall in: the unevolved and the evolved. How do they differ? The unevolved usually harbors itself around its negative traits. Obviously, the evolved stands more towards the positive traits. Now, with that being said, just because you are an evolved zodiac sign does not mean that your negative traits have just magically disappeared. They still exist, and they still pop out every now and then when you need them to. It's kind of like the 80-20 rule, or in my case, the 90-10 rule, where 90 or 80% of the time you are in the most chill vibe ever. You are positive on positive, giving the good light of the sun and the universe out to the people. And then there's either that 10 or 20% of the time where something actually happens to you, where all the negative traits that you suppress and you have gotten under control pop the fuck out because somebody's done something to you, and now you gotta show them you ain't nothing to play with. Now, being an evolved zodiac sign isn't as easy as one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. It is going to take a lot of internal work, meaning self-help, self-care, and more specifically being self-aware. And being self-aware of your negative traits, your toxic traits, as well as things that can trigger you into violence or extreme rage is definitely one good step in the direction of becoming an evolved zodiac sign. So now, you figured out what your negative traits and triggers are. Your next step is to learn how to control them. And to be honest with you, that's probably going to be the most difficult part of your evolution into becoming an evolved sign. And on my unbeknownst quest to becoming an evolved sign, more so at that time I was just trying to become an evolved human, I decided to stop complaining about shit. At that time in my life, I just felt like nothing was working in my favor. I kept feeling like I had multiple midlife crises throughout the year. It wasn't looking good for your girl. And I don't remember specifically what I was complaining about that day, but it got me so upset that I needed to take a step back and be like, hold up. Why are we so angry about this? You are complaining about something you have absolutely no control over changing. Why are you giving it so much energy? And after I repeated those thoughts to myself in my head at that moment, I immediately stopped complaining about whatever it was I was complaining about. But did I stop complaining in general? Absolutely not. After the first time it happened, I remember vividly doing the same thing in a repeating cycle, complaining about something, questioning why I was complaining about it, and then immediately stop complaining about it. Until one day, instead of thinking these thoughts, I said them out loud. Now, for those who do not believe in reciting daily mantras, talking to yourself in the mirror, or speaking things and thoughts out loud and to an existence, I say to you, switch that shit up right now. Talking to yourself out loud is a great way to relieve stress and free your mind. Whether you want to talk to yourself and get your thoughts out in the shower, the kitchen, the car, or even do it like me, talking to yourself in the mirror is great. Why? Because it's actually a reflection of yourself, which actually is a person. So then technically you talking to another person. Now, if you do not agree with my logic about talking to yourself in the mirror, that's okay. That is what helps me. But you got to do what helps you. Even if you talk to that stuffed bear you got when you were 6. And if talking to Teddy Ruxpin helps you, you do you, boo-boo. But seriously, after I made the conscious decision to stop complaining about stuff and actually sticking with it, it honestly felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. I felt internally lighter. It felt like the many things that I wanted to go right in the universe started to align and work in my favor. Now, after hearing my testimony, if you still aren't down with talking to yourself, don't forget pen and paper still exists. Write that shit out. Now, I'm going to read a few traits for each zodiac that would be extremely prominent if they were in their unevolved state. And as I'm reading these, if anyone has ever called you out for having any of these traits and not in a positive manner, or you extremely relate to all of them at one time, baby, you got some evolving to do, honey. You got some work to do. So for the unevolved state of Aries, we have aggressive, self-centered, bad temper, impulsive, and me first. Taurus, we have stubborn, bad temper, selfish, lazy, irritable. Gemini, unreliable, indecisive, judgmental, anxious, moody. Cancer, passive aggressive, moody, holds a grudge, secretive, insecure. Leo, impulsive, self-centered, egotistical, impatient, bossy/controlling. Virgo, critical, selfish, stubborn, moody, lacks optimism. Libra, superficial, indecisive, controlling, self-absorbed, passive-aggressive. Scorpio, jealous, controlling, too intense, resentful, manipulative. Sagittarius, too blunt, impulsive, self-centered, reckless, unreliable. Capricorn, judgmental, aloof, stubborn, unforgiving, know-it-all. Aquarius, aloof, God complex, rebel without a cause, bad temper, lacks compassion. Pisces, victim mindset, distractive, passive-aggressive, fearful, and moody. Now, having one or two of these traits in your personality honestly isn't an issue at all. You'd be surprised how having certain traits might even keep you out of trouble. But letting 3 or more of those traits be the consistent star in your real life reality TV show could be a problem, but problems are meant to be solved. And that's where the evolving comes in. And just like with any process of change, you're gonna have to ask yourself some questions. And the questions for evolution of a zodiac are, what are my negative traits, toxic characteristics, or anything that can trigger me and put me in an angered mindset? And once you have figured that out and acknowledge what that is, you just gotta work on controlling it. Give it time, be patient. It surely won't happen overnight, but you'll definitely know that you're on the right path to becoming an evolved zodiac, aka an evolved human, to make the world a better place. Live long and prosper, people.